So here we are at Pheasantry Cottage. It's a early Victorian detached property sitting in a plot of just over an acre and a quarter with breathtaking gardens, really impressive living accommodation in the very, very popular South Norfolk village of Starston. So as is usually the way in Norfolk, we enter through the back door. It's a stable door leading on from the lane into a really useful utility space. Lots of appliance space in there as well. It also houses the boiler. Brings us through into the kitchen. It's a nice space this, big windows looking out onto the garden beyond there. It's a really bright area this. You've got some really nice polished tiled flooring. The kitchen's fitted to a very good standard as well. You've got pine block worktops, you've got an inset Belfast sink, built-in dishwasher of course as well, space for an upright fridge freezer too. Now there is also a really handy and actually a very generous sized pantry as well. Lots of storage space, all shelved out as well. Now the kitchen, whilst it's not a huge space, there is potential with the right planning consents to knock through into the dining room beyond. There is also a lapsed planning consent on this property to convert the garage, which would allow for some more living space if you really wanted to. My view is to knock through from the kitchen into the dining room would allow for a really bright space. You'd have 3 windows overlooking the garden beyond to make a really nice area. As you walk through into the property, it's lovely and bright. Really, what you really want to look at in this place is the drawing room. It's a fantastic space. Almost sort of leaves the sort of best part to the last there. So if we wander through, I'll be able to show you the drawing room as well. So as you walk into the drawing room, it really is the jewel in the crown of Pheasantry Cottage. It's a stunning room. This was originally the only building which stood on the site here. Originally it was almost like a sort of pavilion summer house to Starston Place, which is not too far away from here. But as a drawing room, it's a great space. It's got a beautiful triple aspect to it. Sun streaming in through these beautiful oak windows and the French doors here overlooking the garden. You've also got windows to both ends and also the front. To be honest, it's such a quiet location. You can have windows in every single room and it wouldn't make any difference. It would still be beautifully peaceful and quiet here. Now as a room, it's impressive. You know, it's got great tall ceilings to it. You've got a beautiful oak floor, some really nice oak features in terms of the doors. There's a stunning fireplace here as well. As you can see, it's a big fireplace. Plenty of space for an open fire. There's no wood burner here, but you know, if you wanted to install one and have a flue put in, you certainly could, of course. But as a room, it's, you know, whilst it's a big space, it's also really quite cosy as well. The current owners have dressed it in such a nice way. It's a really welcoming space as well. Just off here, there is another door which takes you through into a small lobby. Just off that lobby is a cloakroom. I was going to say downstairs cloakroom, but it's a cloakroom. And then beyond there, it takes you out via a sort of panel floored porch out onto the west side of the property, which has some amazing views over the sort of hard landscape garden at the end there as well. So from here, via the French doors, down a few steps onto the terrace, takes you out into the incredible garden. The garden is the real selling feature of this property. It's a wonderfully secluded position, surrounded on all sides, particularly at the back there by some really lovely mature trees, including a giant redwood there as well. To one end, you've got a lovely hard landscaped garden, really nicely shingled with some beautiful plants. It's a real sun trap at that end, and that's retained on 2 sides by a wall, which was the original wall which divided this property with Starston Place itself. There's a beautiful lawned area immediately to the rear of the property. It's a lovely level space as well. In the middle of that at the moment is a good sized fish pond, really well stocked with a number of koi carp as well. From there beyond, you've got a lovely wooded area towards the end, enjoys a really good degree of privacy as well as being lovely and open with some incredible views across the fields there too. Now there is the possibility with this one, obviously subject to the right planning consents, of having a cart lodge put in. I mentioned the possibility of converting the garage as well with consent. Having space for a cart lodge would be great. There's lots of spaces which it might be suitable for. It's bordered on one side by the lane, which is a private lane, accessible at this point only by this property, and it's just a beautiful position. So we've seen the beautiful original living accommodation, this wonderful drawing room. Now let's walk through and see the more recent additions to the property, added on in the 1970s, the dining room and all 3 bedrooms. So leading through the kitchen takes us nicely into the dining room. This is the wall here which I touched upon, which you could potentially remove to open up to make a bigger kitchen breakfast room. It would be a really lovely space if you were to do that, because you've got windows all the way along the back here overlooking the garden as well. Now just off here there's a small inner hallway. Just off there is the sleeping accommodation to the property. You've got 3 double bedrooms. The bigger of the 3 bedrooms lies to the back and the smaller 2 at the front. In addition to that, there is also a family bathroom. It's a really well equipped bathroom. You've got a decent sized bath, obviously fully tiled throughout, and also a nice shower enclosure as well. So overall, an absolutely beautiful property in a breathtaking position in arguably one of the most popular villages in South Norfolk. Pheasantry Cottage is marketed with a guide price of £550,000. For more information, give our Harleston office a call or find Musker McIntyre online.